day-to-day life of an ultra runner, training for mountain running. How does it all fit in to a daily life? What is it like to train for the UTMB? It's just a few questions that I have and that many have when it comes to the ultra running world. Hello and welcome to the Ultra Running Podcast with me, Coach Marshy. I hope you are all well and everything is going well in your training, whatever it is you're training for right now. From my perspective, things are starting to improve with my foot injury, and I'm certainly getting out there a little bit more often. If you want to follow that journey, that is over on the Coach Marshy YouTube channel with my journey back to ultra running. So, really privileged today to welcome a guest into the show. So let's welcome Josh in. Hello, Josh. How are you?
Hi, Marshall. Yeah, good. Thanks. You?
Yeah, no, I'm really good, mate. I'm really good.
Brilliant.
So Josh, I'll give you a little intro there, and I've built you up there because we met by chance on the finish line of UTS 2022, the 100k.
Yeah.
And I got the privilege to have a little chat with you as the winner of that 100k.
Oh, thanks. No, thanks for the interview and thanks for having me on today as well.
Yeah, no, really appreciate it. So before we dive into any of that, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, where you're based, what you sort of do in your daily life, and let us know who you are.
Yeah, I live in Kendal, just on the edge of the Lake District. Work as a gardener, mostly throughout the lakes, Windermere, Ambleside sort of area. And spend most of my time running. In the fells of the lakes or trails around Kentmere and stuff like that. Passionate about gardening as well, but yeah, most of my time is spent running. I've been in the mountains, you know.
Yeah. So, question with that: are you a self-employed gardener?
No, I'm actually employed.
Okay. So you sort of work in a full-time job, right?
Yeah, 4 days a week. Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It's really nice.
I think sometimes I ask that question because it's good to try and establish when we're about to talk about what we're going to dive into, what people's sort of real world is as well. Because I think, I don't know what your opinion is, Josh, but what I find is that sometimes there's this feeling that the people that are winning events like UTS are professional runners, but they're not. They've got jobs as well. And you're obviously like that. So cool. So let's dive into it and unpack it. We're going to go straight into UTS. So there I am with my little iPhone on the finish line of UTS, and Mike Jones, bless him, was kind enough to give me the opportunity to go in and to the finish line and interview anyone who was finishing and ask them some questions. And as I've just kind of arrived back, everyone started getting hyper and excited, and you wouldn't have known this because you were running in, but that's what they were getting excited about, because it was like the first 100k male's on the way in. He's on his way in, like he's coming now. And then I thought, oh, that's early. Or it felt early. I don't know. We'll find out from you in a minute. But just explain to us sort of your experience of the UTS, so the Ultra Trail Snowdonia, for those that aren't clear on that. You took part in the 100k. Just give us a little bit of a background of the day and how it went and how it was.
Yeah. Well, it was my third time at the event. I absolutely love it there. I just love the terrain, you know, running over the summits, Snowdon. The course is amazing. It gives you a full day out, loads of hills, rough terrain. But yeah, 100k, you know, full day out, 62 miles, isn't it? When you're going over Snowdon, it's just, I just love every moment of it. But yeah, second half went really well for me on that day. Felt really strong. I was just loving it, and the climbs are going brilliant. And then, like you said, the finish, I was just running down Snowdon. But I didn't expect all the people to be there. And I was just running back down Snowdon. I was just absolutely loving it. But what a route Mike has designed. Absolutely.
Yeah, and obviously, UTS like you said, you've been there before and done the event, but this was the first year in particular that it had been taken over by the UTMB World Series, which is quite new for our industry and our world. Is that this is a new deal between UTMB and multiple races worldwide. How did it feel? Did it feel different? Did it feel more prestigious, or did it feel like a bigger event than the previous years?
Definitely, yeah. First time I did it was in 2019, and I think Mike was just sort of I can't remember if it was the second or third year, but it was really good then as well. It seems to have just got bigger every single year. I went last year for the 100k, and it was part of the Ultra Trail World Tour then, and it was pretty big then. But this year, it was what a setup! Now it's like the finish line and stuff like that, and the support and stuff at the checkpoints as well. It's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and you say about like the setup at the finish line and the start finish area. Yeah. Obviously, so I'd never been there before, and when I walked into the Slate Museum, don't get me wrong, it was chucking it down with rain, and it was on the Friday night. But the scenery for the Slate Museum itself, what a place to finish in.
What place? It's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, just the big rocks and the slate on the side of the mountain. It was just mega. It was nice.
Yeah.
So when it came to obviously being there for the third time, was your win an expected win, or was it very unexpected?
Well, I'm not so sure. Last year, so the 100k last year, it was a bit of a different route, but same distance and same elevation. It's come up on my Strava, the same distance and same elevation. And last year I ran it in 14:33, and this year I did it in 13:16, which was totally unexpected. I looked at my watch near Snowdon, and it said something like 12:35 as I was going up the other side. I was like, no way. So that was completely out. It was probably one of the best ones I've done. But and the guy behind me, Artis, he was super strong as well, and he was using poles, really strong with them poles. So every time I looked behind him, he was right there, and he was really pushing me on. It was great to share lots of miles with him too. And then second half, I don't know, like I said, second half just went extremely well, and I just felt like I was running really well. But yeah, I was so chuffed with the 13:16 finish, especially after last year. Last year I was second, and that was 14 hours 33. So yeah, really chuffed.
Yeah, and with that kind of with that event win, does that give you any sort of pressure going forward on what your expectations are for ultra running, or is it still just going to be like this? We'll see how it goes, and a hobby, and just see how you get on in the next event, or is there now like this added pressure that you want to be someone that competes at the front?
No, sort of. I just love it that much. I just love training, and the race is just like an add-on, really, because I just love day-to-day training, and then I do think about the race as well. But yeah, the race is an add-on. But I love doing all these events, but yeah, I'll keep working hard, and see where I go with it.
Yeah, no, excellent. And so the UTMB World Series, you and I know about it, but some of our listeners may not know that I would refer to it as the World Cup of running.
Yeah.
And with UTMB and being over there in sort of Mont Blanc and that kind of Chamonix setup that you see on YouTube, that's probably the best way to describe it to someone who doesn't know. Look on YouTube. You are now qualified for that, but you were already qualified for this coming year. Is that right?
Yeah, I was already entered for the CCC. So yeah, that's in about just over 3 weeks, is it?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah.
And in terms of that, the CCC, what kind of distance is that? So for those that don't know.
Yeah, it's the same distance as so it's 100 kilometers, and it's about 20,000 feet, I think, between 20 and 22,000 feet. So similar to UTS, but I don't think the terrain's as rough. I think it's a lot smoother kind of trails and stuff, because UTS is on some pretty gnarly terrain. drier as well, probably.
Yeah.
Alps. So yeah, because the first 3 from UTS 100 kilometre go through to CCC, which is the 100 kilometre, don't they?
Yeah.
And then was it the 50k go to the 50k and the 100 mile go to UTMB?
Yep. Yep.
So super competitive. You get them from all the UTMB World Series races, don't you?
Yeah. So that's what I was going to kind of go on to. You're now going to be up against people from worldwide.
Yeah, sure.
Is there any names that you know of that are like really quite competitive in the CCC race, or are you not aware of them?
Yeah, I've had a look on the list. John Alban, he's amazing. He's really good runner, isn't he? Wins almost everything.
Yeah.
I think Hayden Hawks is on there as well. And there's some other guys that did Madeira Island Ultra Trail in April, and there's some guys I think that were in the top 5 or top 10 that are on there as well.
And in terms of that prestigious stage and being on this world stage, just a few weeks from now, what's your feeling going into that? Is this the first time you're going to go there to Chamonix?
Well, I've been to Chamonix quite a few times before, but not to race. So I just love the place. The mountains, the trails, and what a place! It's so nice. Chamonix is just beautiful, isn't it?
I've only seen it on the film. I've never actually been yet, so I'm hoping to get there at some stage.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going on Saturday actually for 10 days to put in some training. Then I come home for 2 weeks, and then going back for 8 days for the race week and the race itself. Super excited.
So many questions there, because anyone who's an ultra fan, if you like, will be watching what's available on YouTube.
Sure.
Billy Yang Films is probably one of the most well-known filmmakers of ultra videos, and the Zach film that he did about Zach Miller doing the UTMB whenever that was, a few years back, but the documentary that sort of came out during lockdown. You get a good insight, but now we're actually talking to someone who's going to go to Chamonix, and you've given us a little breakdown there. So you're going to go on are you going by yourself, or are you going with family, or?
I'm going by myself on Saturday to train, and then I'm going with my girlfriend for the 8 days for the race. She's going to support me.
So do you have to sell it to her as a holiday?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
She loves supporting me as well. She loves doing it.
Yeah, I don't know who was with her on the finish line of UTS, but there was 2 of them.
Yeah, that was my mum.
Your mum, yeah. I mean, they just looked absolutely over the moon, and they were overjoyed with it, and it was really good to watch. And I kind of wish I'd just pressed record and got a bit of that on film, because it was raw emotion of like someone. From my perspective, it was like someone you could just see the proudness in someone.
Yeah, brilliant.
Beaming out of these 2 ladies who I didn't know. I didn't even know they were linked to you at the time. But then it became very obvious when they were kind of let into the finish area, and they kind of came and give you a hug and everything after. It was really, from my perspective, it was a real like, oh yeah, what a moment. Like that's real like raw emotion. This guy's worked his arse off to become this ultra runner and win this race. And these people are obviously his family, and they're completely, proud of him. And it was great to watch. And I thought, awesome. I just wondered how that kind of, like how that unpacks when it comes to like going away and abroad. Yeah. Obviously, I'd imagine all your family and friends want to be there to support you, but it's just a little bit too much, right?
Yeah, for sure. Because my mum was thinking about coming over, but she's not this time. So it's just me and Mel, my girlfriend, and no, it's going to be good though. I'm looking forward to it. But like you said, that Ultra Trail Snowdonia finish, it was so good. It was so good. I was saying it was up there with one of the best days I've had, for sure.
Yeah.
That finish, I just loved. Oh, it's so good running down Snowdon.
Yeah, and was it the route down next to the train line?
Yeah.
So like really runnable, right?
Really runnable, yeah, really runnable. It's a nice finish.
So what sort of head leaning forward, slight tilt, and then
Yeah.
off you go.
I opened it up. I was like, oh, this is great. What a day it's been. You just reflect on the day, and it's like.
And I'd imagine the weather came really good for you at that point as well, right?
It was lovely then. The sun was out. We had a mixture of everything all day because we started in rain. We had, a bit of clag, and then really wet underfoot at the start of the day. Really wet, and then it did dry out, and then just that nice weather at the end when it was brilliant.
It was amazing, and I'd recommend to anyone who's an ultra runner to get there and have a look at it because it's a great place. And
absolutely,
rumor has it there is a shorter race added to it next year, so that should be good fun for people that want to kind of just maybe participate a little bit more, but on the terrain of the bigger races, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
I think I met the I'm sure you did as well, the founder of UTMB. They were there, and I met those guys and had a chat with them, and they were really like overwhelmed with the scenery. And the terrain. They thought it was brilliant. They loved Snowdonia. So, I think it was really good, and I think Mike and UTMB have got something going there really good now.
Absolutely.
But I think it will probably make it pretty big in the coming years, I reckon.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Like the courses are amazing.
And do you plan to go back there?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm definitely going back next year.
And with that, then, do you think there's an increased chance of the competition becoming greater because of the link to UTMB and everything else?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's going to. I reckon the competition will get a lot stronger in the coming years.
Yeah,
like you say, I think it'll keep growing and growing that event.
Yeah, no, I'm excited, and with an outside chance of being on the start line myself, hopefully.
Definitely.
For the 50k.
For the 50k, yeah, that'd be awesome.
I won't bite off more than I can chew to start with, mate.
Yeah.
But so take me back to the conversation about UTMB a little bit more then. So you're going to go for an 8-day you're going to go for 10 days to train.
Yeah.
How's that going to look sort of day to day?
Yeah, so I sort of got it sort of planned out. Sunday I'll do a long tempo run uphill. And then Monday, Tuesday, I'm actually going out to Switzerland. I'm going to run up some peaks out there. And then I'm going to come back. I'm taking a rest day in the middle. Chill in the sun, eat some good food and repack and everything like that. And then, a few pretty big days after that. Long runs, a lot of elevation. Get used to the terrain.
Specific recce of any sections?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, get out on the course for sure. I'll do that later in the week. It'll be great. Yeah,
and then come home, back to normal life, working for 2 weeks, and then out you go for the race. So you said 8 days you're going for.
Yeah.
Where does the race fall within those 8 days?
It's on the Friday, and I'm going on the Sunday. So I've got a couple of days to settle in and stuff like that. And enjoy it. I'll watch a few of the other races because there's a couple of other races earlier in the week, isn't there?
Yeah. No, it's a big festival of running, right?
Big festival, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it looks pretty epic, actually.
Sure.
I mean, am I right in saying that the crowds are like 8 people deep?
Yeah.
Around the town.
Yeah. It looks full on, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, it'll be. It's great that we've got UK runners there representing us as well.
Definitely.
People probably don't. People think of it is an individual sport, but you are still there representing your country as well, which is awesome. Yeah. And actually, in any other sport at the level that you've reached, Josh, I think you'd be recognised a lot more in other sports than perhaps than people are in ultra running. Yeah. But no, it's great to know that we'll have people out there running. I mean, I'm sure there's loads of guys and girls that have qualified, but a lot of them qualify with an aim because they qualify because they got the stones and they got in on the lottery and the old system, and you know, that was great. And it was really good for people to go, but to get there and be there as a runner from a race win in the UK in this new setup is going to be great that you're on the start line.
Yeah.
And
Can't
then
wait.
Realistically, you want to just finish, I guess, is always the first port of call, right? But now with the event win under your belt, you got any sort of expectations or confidence from that?
Well, I'm not so sure. I bounced back from it pretty well at the UTS. I recovered quite well, and I managed managing to put in some pretty high mileage weeks for me anyway. I feel fit, and I'm looking forward to it. I have no expectations. I just want to go out and enjoy it, and whatever happens. But I think that's what I enjoy most about it, because I don't expect anything from it, and then suddenly I'm in there, and it's like, whoa, I'm loving this, because I'm just enjoying moving. But I feel like I'm moving quite well, and so I guess that's when you enjoy it, isn't it? But,
so let's rewind in life a bit and talk about sort of you kind of growing up, and have you always lived where you live now?
Yeah, I've always lived in Kendal. Yeah.
So let's, I don't know if you know Cambridge at all, but anyone who listens to this that lives where I live will know that this is the flattest place other than Lincolnshire, right?
Really.
There is nothing here. There's no hills. We have to travel 45 minutes to go to a heath, which is not that high. And then you compare that to, say, where you live.
Yeah.
And you literally got the mountains around you, right?
Yeah.
Can you literally go out your front door and run up an elevation?
I'd have to run probably. I don't normally run from my door. So I'm not sure how to, but I go in my van, and it takes me 15 minutes in my van to get to the closest proper hills,
Yeah.
So I spend most of my time there. I just love it, and it's pretty quiet actually. My local hills are actually pretty quiet instead of the central ones, so yeah, it's lovely.
So even at the time of recording this episode, we're at the start of the school holidays, and somewhere like that would tend to be pretty. The lakes are pretty packed at this time of year. But
I've done it. I did a lap of the Kentmere Horseshoe this morning, and I've probably seen 2 people.
Right.
It's 12 miles of running with 3,000 feet of elevation, and I've probably seen 2 people.
And that's 15 minutes down the road.
Yeah.
And I think the point I'm trying to make here is that, throughout your life, if that's on your doorstep, you're going to naturally end up out in that kind of terrain regularly, not as a runner, just as a kind of, as a kid playing. And
as a kid, yeah. My dad took me out a lot when I was a kid, and just fell walking, and just being out in the hills really.
Yeah. Whereas, we've got a nice boggy fen to walk around. So, it's not quite the same. But, so living and breathing somewhere like that your whole life has to be a good thing when it comes to training for the ultra world and the big trail races.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can get some pretty mammoth days in the lakes. Lots of elevation. No, it's great. You can run on some really rough terrain, just like UTS as well. It's great to train for something like UTS. It's brilliant.
Yeah, no, and I think obviously, like when you say about high mileage week, give us a ballpark figure on that.
Well, I ran 90 miles last week. I did 25,000 feet of elevation.
Wow.
So it's quite a high mileage week for me. And so the week after UTS, I took a break, and then the week and then I managed to get up to 78 the week after, and then I've just put in a 90-mile week. So I don't know what I'll get up to in the Alps, but we'll see.
And it's really good to get a perspective, and people listening to this will, they'll get this perspective as well, that, being where you are can really affect your training, because I've got to go back a few years to when I did your sort of 70, 80, 100-mile weeks. I was there. You know, I did do that sort of training, and I'd be lucky to get 5,000 feet in a week like that.
Yeah.
In where I live, you know, barely anything. You sort of go out and get a run and you get literally 23 feet on a 10-mile route or something.
Yeah.
You know, it's barely anything.
Yeah.
Whereas you're talking about doing 25,000 feet in a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's big advantages, and like, it's really cool to talk to someone who lives in that world and that terrain, because I don't, and I'm sure many of our listeners don't. And you know, we drive and we do this training. There's a former guest, Tanner, who I interviewed, that I think she lives west side of Manchester.
Yeah.
But her parents were sort of Snowdonia based. So she was like, within an hour of driving in any direction, she can be quite close to some big terrain.
Yeah.
And she was just talking about the advantages around that.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, she turns up to UTS as well and absolutely performed as well.
Yeah.
Whereas our guys, Ian and Andrew, bless them, they're kind of they're doing some training leading up to the event, but they're not getting any sort of terrain in. But luckily, they're both sort of mountain goats anyway, so they're good. They're good at it from other walks of life. But in terms of UTMB, then it sounds like the environment is the main pull. You know, the main reason you go in. The main kind of reasons that you do this is because you love movement in that sort of environment. Being on that sort of world famous race and that stage has got to add some sort of excitement to it as well. Surely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's high level of competition as well, isn't it? You know, if you do races with high level of competition, you know what extra work you've got to put in, and it's just they're the races I want to do.
Have you got any nerves around it?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I hope it all runs smoothly. Going through. It's like I want it all to run smoothly.
Me and the guys are looking forward to tracking you. Actually, me and a couple of guys that I went to UTS with, we'll be certainly watching and watching the tracker that day, just to see how you get on. And you know, you bring up a point earlier about the terrain maybe potentially being sort of more favourable than UTS.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Go on.
Sorry. Yeah, I have run on them trails quite a bit. A lot drier and smoother, and whereas UTS you've got all the rocks in between, and you've really got to concentrate in Snowdonia or in the lakes, and in the Alps I guess it's a lot more flowy.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and I did hear on a couple of the paths up part of the UTS trail, that one of the at the top of Snowdon you were scrambling almost, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's definitely scrambling in UTS. I remember doing little bits of down climbing and stuff.
Really?
yeah, just little bits. And it's proper, like almost the sky running route as well.
Right. Okay. Which is one of Mike's other races as well, isn't it?
Yeah, he's got one of them as well, hasn't he? Snowdon Skyline.
Yeah. I mean, this is above the level that I've ever reached so far. It doesn't mean I won't get there, but I think, you know, watching you guys and quite frankly seeing you walk out of it is just inspirational, because it just is like you've turned up and you've just finished this epic 100k, like you said, a full day, 62 miles, and you just had this beaming smile on your face, and you were just it's just like you're just happy to be there. And that was really mind opening for me as well. That kind of opened the mind, and you know, kind of made me see that this level. I've always been into sport. I'm into sports science. I run my own gym here in Cambridge, and you know, but go in there, and I've recently been to the CrossFit Games as well, which is obviously a completely different sport. But watching UTS and watching the CrossFit Games semi-final in London, watching those two events in those respective sports made you realise what level you guys at the front are at? But you would just tell me you're just a normal guy, right?
Yeah.
That enjoys the hills.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when I say something like that, how does that make you feel?
Yeah. Yeah. That's my enjoyment of it. No, no. I appreciate your kind words, Marshy.
Yeah, and I think 90-mile weeks that's proper training. That's like an athlete.
Yeah, it feels like a fairly you feel like you're really putting in the work with it, especially when you're working outside and stuff as well, and manual labour, and then you're getting home and churning out a load more miles, and basically you don't have a lot of time for anything apart from training, working, eating, sleeping, and running.
Yeah, because let's be honest. Quite a few of the people I've spoke to in these episodes thus far, there have been full-time workers as well.
Yeah,
but they're kind of more at a desk.
Yeah,
whereas you're actually like manual labour as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Are you doing landscaping and stuff like that?
No, it's mowing lawns, hedge cutting, strimming, all that kind of stuff.
But you're kind of up and down and, reaching up and...
Yeah, absolutely. And moving heavy grass boxes, filling big grass bins and moving the grass bins. And it's probably has a part to play in conditioning your body and stuff like that, and on time on your feet as well. You're on your feet constantly, like mowing lawns. Some of the lawns I mow can take 2 or 3 hours, and you're walking up and down, up and down.
And that's not flat either in your area.
No, not flat in the lakes either. No.
Yeah. So no, you're right. I guess you're right. The conditioning side of that, it's this new buzzword within the fitness world and the exercise world is NEAT. So non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Which is basically what you're doing every day. You are getting into condition because you do a manual job. Walking up and down hills is very relevant to what you're actually training for as well. So, and I mean, there's 101 questions that I could ask, but on that note of kind of conditioning work, do you do any specific gym or strength and conditioning sessions?
Yeah, but not a lot. Last week, I only did 1 hour 15 minutes of it in total. So not a lot. And I don't go to the gym. I just do it at home, with a box and core work and all that kind of stuff. But not long.
But it is an integral part of the plan.
Yeah.
Which I think is something that I'm always curious with any runner that I talk to. Is it something that's planned in, or is it just random?
It's definitely planned in. It's a good thing to have in the plan, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I certainly love it. I think I'm quite well known within my running club as badgering people about doing strength and conditioning.
Yeah, brilliant.
Because actually, they're not all cutting lawns that take 2 or 3 hours walking up and down hills where they're getting that conditioning within their knees and their hips and their ankles. So, I think it is important. Like I said, 101 questions here, but
no, it's all right, Marsh.
When you look at yourself at where you are now, do you ever think about taking this to another level and trying to get some sort of professional involvement within it?
Well, it'd be nice to if I ever got there. I guess I don't know where I'll end up with it. I'm just loving getting fitter and fitter and seeing how much training I can churn out, and what I can do. If it ever got to anything like that, it'd be amazing.
Yeah, and I'm guessing you didn't wake up one day and decide that you wanted to be you didn't wake up and think that you could get this far in ultra running where you've got to now, let alone go to the next level. But you obviously decided to take it up. How did that? Explain to everyone how that started. Where did this actually start?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it just starts in, like running once or twice a week, and then it all adds up, and it's like, oh, I'll do some more miles, and then I've built it up over a few years. This sort of mileage. Yeah, well, I got coached last year. Kim Collison, he started coaching me in last July. So a lot of my training's been a lot more specific, and we've managed to add a lot more miles on. And I guess a few years previous to that, I had a lot of this base work. I was just going out running all the time, but nothing too specific. So yeah, it's just more, adding more and more every week, and yeah, it's been great.
So do you feel that where you've got to at the moment and the victory at UTS is kind of just the way it's kind of naturally the next steps have led to the next step, and then this is where you've ended up?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the next step and the next, like, doors keep opening. It's like, oh, right, I've done that. I'll do the next. It's just loving the journey. Absolutely loving the journey. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, no, and I think we'll certainly keep track of your journey, mate, for sure.
Yeah,
we actually tend to keep following all of our guests as well, and
yeah, absolutely.
It's always good to see where you guys end up, and the idea is to do more of what we did at UTS. So hopefully we'll cross paths quite regularly in the years to come.
Yeah.
So I've got some kind of quick fire questions that I'm always curious of what ultra runners think to these things. Have you got a sort of bucket list of races that you want to do?
Yeah, for sure. UTMB, definitely. UTMB hopefully next year. A lot of the UTMB World Series sort of races, like Eiger Ultra Trail and Lavaredo Ultra Trail.
Yeah.
I've entered the Trans-Gran Canaria for the 80k for February.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about entering the Lavaredo 120 kilometre as well for next year. Then kind of races. UTMB World Series. Ones like snowboarding.
Fun way to see the world, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, no, I think it's kind of the pipe dream for me at the minute, but I get it. I think what a way to go and visit all these places, right?
Yeah, sure, yeah. And like that Madeira race that I did in April, you basically cross the whole island. So you get to see it in like a whole day.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, what a place. It was all different areas and stuff like that. It was just great.
Yeah, and I think that's a big draw to these sort of races that we travel to and support and take part in, is that you're kind of in picturesque places, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely stunning landscapes and mountains, and yeah, so nice.
And in terms of Western States, I like to talk about Western States.
Yeah.
Do you think you'd ever do Western States?
Yeah, I'd like to. Yeah. That looks really good. Yeah, I'd love to do that.
It was interesting to see that turn up on the World Series list.
Yeah.
Because for me, that was like the other World Cup of running.
Yeah.
For the Ultra World. But yeah, to see it all tied in now is really interesting. And yeah, do you have any thoughts on that at all, about all this World Series and how it's all tied in now?
Yeah, I think it's brilliant. You've got all these races and all part of this one massive World Series, and they've got the finals, haven't they? Next year, is it? Or is it part of it this year as well? I'm not sure, but the UTMB finals next year, 2023, I reckon that'll be
pretty
awesome.
Big.
Yeah,
no.
Sure.
No, it'll be good. It'll be good. And sort of maybe final question then.
Yeah.
So, what does running mean to you?
What do you mean to me? Happiness.
Nice.
Joy. it's brilliant for everyone. It's such a great thing. My girlfriend's got into running because of when I started running, and it's so good. Yeah. Some guys that I work with, they got into running, and it's brilliant. Such a positive thing.
Yeah, no, I think it's massive. I mean, mental health now is a big thing, especially post-pandemic and whatever. And I think, lots of people have turned to running at the sort of couch to 5k level even, and they've found that it's really important for them and it's a big part of their life now. What would you be doing if you weren't running?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Probably working more. No, I love running. So
yeah, no, absolutely. I think running for me is really important and it's a big part of my world. And even injured, I've managed to tick over, because running is a way of life now for me, and it clearly is for you. It's clearly become something big for you, so that's really interesting to hear. Do you know what, Josh? We could go on for hours and hours here, but I'm sure we can have you back on the show for sure, and maybe catch up on some of these events and what they turned out to be for you and how it went, and kind of ask you more questions in the future if that's all right with you. It'd be great to have you back on.
Absolutely, yeah. No, thanks very much for having me, Marsh. Yeah, it's been great. Thank you.
And if people wanted to follow your journey, is there anywhere they can follow it?
Yeah, Instagram.
Right, okay. So I'll put your handle in the description so that people can see that. So that they can just click on the link and follow you there, which would be great. No, but cheers, Josh. Thanks for coming. It's been awesome having you on the show. You just stay there, mate, and we'll catch up off screen in a second. But it has been a real pleasure interviewing you and finding out about sort of where you're at and what the future might hold and what you've done so far in your running journey. So do really appreciate your time, mate, and thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
So, guys, hopefully you've enjoyed listening to Josh there and what he's had to say on the show. It's a massive insight for me as a fan of ultra running and as a runner myself to get that account from Josh and hear what he's got to say. And it's been a real pleasure having him on. So if you think that was interesting or anything that Josh has said there, you think your friends, family, fellow runners that could really benefit from hearing it, please do absolutely share this and send it over to them, because it would be great to get this out there and let people hear what it is that Josh has done, and if it can help someone else, that's part of what I believe in, the whole pay it forward principle as well. Whatever platform you've been listening on or watching on, if you guys could comment, it means a lot. If you comment, it makes a huge difference. Let us know what you thought. Let us know your own stories based around what it is Josh and I have just discussed there. And definitely do give us a rating as well on whatever platform it is that you are listening or watching. But for today, that's everything for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed yourself, and I hope that we can meet here again to discuss more on the Ultra Running Podcast with me, Coach Marshy.